guys, and welcome back to Mums and Melanin. I'm Iola.
I'm Debbie.
I'm Tony.
And I'm Tukumba.
You already know what I'm going to say. Make sure you've liked, make sure you've commented on many of our videos, subscribe, click the bell. We want to build this community and take it further and further to anyone who's interested in our content, really. So we're really pushing, guys. Please make sure you support us. We appreciate it. Now that I've got that out of the way, today we're discussing partners disciplining our children. Yeah, what's our thoughts on it? Do we have sort of like a gauge to what they can and can't do? Is it a conversation? Is it kind of like an unspoken rule? What's our thoughts?
And this is, by this you mean the partner isn't the parent?
The partner isn't the biological parent of the child.
Got you.
So it could be a blended family, but what's our thoughts? Are they allowed to? Should they revert the child back to the biological parent? What do you think?
I think it's a conversation that needs to be had between obviously the mother and the step parent or the father and the stepmother, whatever. It takes me back to when I was growing up, actually. My cousin had a stepdad and he was so strict. Like he flogged. Like he was really strict. But her mum didn't have an issue with it. Like I think she was happy with his firmness and whatever. So I don't know, I've grown up thinking that, you know, obviously between two people it depends on what's okay, but it's okay when it's okay. You know
So
what I mean?
was the stepdad in the child's life from a young age?
No.
How long, that's what I was going to say, how long
not
had they been in the
really.
child's life before they started disciplining, do you know?
No, but he wasn't there from the beginning. He was maybe like 3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
From 3-4 years old?
Yeah. No.
He'd been in the picture for
yeah.
3 years. Or
We
so.
were in
And
primary
he was
school.
flogging them.
Yeah, we were in primary school, yeah. And we were probably about, he was probably in her life from 3-4 years old. In her life from that age. We were probably about like 7, 8, 9
Okay, so
years old.
Oh,
so for 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so he'd
Yeah.
been in their life for a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
Well, it's not significant. It's still 3 to 5 years.
But I'm saying in the sense of from a young age.
Okay,
It's different being in their lives from 10 till 13 than
yeah.
from 3 till 7. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like having lived this and had a child and entered into a relationship, I guess for context, I'm the type of mother that I generally feel a bit like I'm fine with you verbally disciplining my child, but I feel a bit like if I can see you're doing too much, I'll prefer to just let me handle it, just because I know how my child is. So Kiana's the type of child that you don't need to raise your voice to her. She doesn't really do anything. She hasn't, in her years, she hasn't done anything that would warrant you to shout at her or doing it. So if I could see that you're trying to go in a direction where I just don't feel is necessary, I may feel some type of way, or I may need to intervene, or it may be a conversation, or I may have to back it from my youth, like, hey, hello, can you calm down? But generally, as long as I know that you're coming from a place of care and concern, and with you're moving within reason, I have no problem with it, because you're in this child's life. So why wouldn't you discipline them? Because you love on them. I expect you to correct them as well. That's just kind
the
of
important part there is knowing the child, knowing what the type of discipline that child needs. I think for my auntie, she felt like her kids needed a firm hand.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. And so much so that obviously I used to go there to play, and my mum, when he was around, wasn't really like keen on me going. Because this uncle's a bit, you don't need that.
It's too rough.
Like, you don't want me to come and get flogged with them. So
but then also there needs that level of comfortability that you're raising your hand to somebody else's child. You yourself should not want to do that anyway.
But he must see it as his own child.
I get that. I get that.
The mother
but
has also co-signed.
That's not
And sometimes mothers are not necessarily comfortable per se, but they need, because they're trying to build this relationship where you guys you know, like you said, you love on them, you also discipline them. They're trying to give them that space to have that understanding.
But then,
Do you know what I mean?
have to guide
Especially
you
if they condone flogging anyways. Obviously, you can't be someone that doesn't condone it, but it's okay when the partner does it. It has to be something you're okay with.
Yeah.
Otherwise, do you know what I mean?
It's your style of discipline.
Yeah, exactly. If it's not, it's
Okay.
just, you're gonna
Okay. So what if, let's say it's scenario now, the mom and the new partner, they live together, and the new partner, he loves on the child, he disciplines the child, like in his house, the rules are his rules, you all live together, it's all happy days. But then the child's biological father is also present and is not happy with the partner disciplining the child. In that situation, how, like, what, as a mum, let's put yourself in the mum position, how are you navigating that? Are you saying, okay, listen, his dad doesn't like you telling him off or telling him what to do, can you not? Or are you speaking to dad like, listen, he lives there, he's involved in his life, he gets the discipline as well? Like, what are you saying? How are you navigating that situation?
I think for me, it's like, what's this born out of? Because it just seems like you're a bit jealous. Because are you annoyed with anybody that disciplines the kid? If my sibling disciplines the kid, are you annoyed? If my parents discipline the kid, like, what? Is it no one can have a say on your kids? Are you that kind of parent? Because there's some parents like that, that only me, no one else can have an opinion. Or is it just because there's a new man around? You're feeling some type of way, your ego's a bit shot. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
way to exert that power.
exert that authority because you're the dad. Because is it everybody now you're concerned about?
But he's concerned, I don't want this man. Your man, that's fine. I don't want your man disciplining my son. If my son does something wrong, come and tell me. Don't have a next man. I don't have a next man disciplining my child.
Okay, what about uncles, siblings? If they want to discipline,
whose uncle is it though? On the mum's side?
Yeah, maybe the mum's brother or uncles that.
But then mum's brother,
I guess. Do you know what I mean? It's every man.
It's not the same. It's not the same, is it?
Spiteful. It's coming to me. It's giving a bit spiteful. Like, okay, do you know what I mean? Or would you want to get to know him better? Is it that you don't know it? You don't know him from Adam, so you don't trust him? Maybe we can have time for you guys to relate and get to know each other like mature adults. Because it's just like, where's this coming from? Like, I don't understand. As long as it's obviously the stepdad's doing something crazy, like you're hitting the kid or whatever.
Yeah.
But if it's just like normal, like, where's this coming from? Like,
I do think hitting a kid that's not yours is a lot, though.
I don't like that one at all.
It's a lot.
It's too much.
It's out there.
It's a lot.
Bro,
it really is a lot.
Just don't.
And they may mean, like I said, some mothers believe in it. So obviously, your scenario, for example, or someone's scenario, I can't remember whose it was. But say, for example, the dad's still in the picture and the partner believes in hitting and the dad doesn't believe in hitting, but the mum believes in hitting. So technically, the two parents, the two adults in the house believe in hitting, but the dad who's involved but it's external doesn't. You do want to kind of still respect that person's wishes. I don't think they're necessarily, because that's their child.
No, that's
so if you're gonna hit, let the mum hit, because he doesn't like it. So if it was him disciplining his kids, he wouldn't do it. Do you know what I mean?
That's fair.
So I think it kind of depends on the family, but generally hitting a child, I just
But let's take hitting out of it, because you know
it's a bit much.
This age is not really hitting age. Do you know what I mean? So just discipline now, where like it could be a bit of shouting, it could be a bit of naughty
taking away the phone,
it could be a bit of like taking the phone,
whatever.
Whatever it is, like
you're the main person in disciplining. Like, you're at the forefront. Like, you're not going out for a week, or you're not watching the iPad, you're not doing this, and it's mum, but no, don't look at your mum, I'm talking to you. The child now goes to the dad, but you took my iPad, and the iPad that I bought you. It all becomes like, can you see now? It all becomes.
I just think though, I think the scenarios where the step parent or the partner is disciplining, normally they're now living in the house, isn't it? Because not someone has to visit you. You don't really live in the house. Well, come on, the guys with your kids 24/7. Like, come on, bro. There's gonna be there has to be an element of trust here. Like, he lives in the house.
What if it's the stepmom?
Yes.
What if it's a woman?
Yeah. She lives in the house. She has some right to what's going on.
Why are you looking at me?
You're about to say something. What if it's a woman looking after your, like, obviously
she's feeding your kids, she's washing their bum, she's there.
So the child lives with the
dad,
or when they go there on the
and
weekends,
they come and
or
see
whatever.
the mum, the biological mum, every now and again.
No, or they live there or they go there on the weekend. Whenever they're at the dad's and the new girlfriend's house, if they do something.
I think you have to meet this long-term partner. You have to. Because you
have to be on one accord. You have to be on one
you have
accord.
to. It's so
everybody has to be happy families.
Otherwise, everything will irritate you. Everything will feel like, do they not like you because you're not their kid? Like everything will. You have.
I feel like it will irritate you regardless because you're not in the house.
Yeah,
because you're not there.
You can't. judge whether or not you would have dealt with it like that or not.
And then there's some dynamics where actually I don't want to be friends with your new girlfriend. I don't like who's this.
Depends on
we're not really. Do you know what I mean? We're not. Me and you are not even on the best terms. You're just the dad. So why am I now going to be friend your friend with your girlfriend? I'm not even your friend. We're literally just parents. So that one is a bit tricky.
But in those situations, that's when if you like look at my child incorrectly, that's when that side of me will come out. But why are you laughing?
So that means the person can't discipline your kid, babe.
No, in that situation where me and the dad don't even have a relationship, and
she's talking about the biological brother.
I know.
But so if me and the dad
don't even look at my kid.
So if me and the dad don't have a good relationship, and I already know that you're already somehow, and then you've come to bring this person that now thinks she has mouth on my child. If my child is doing something wrong in your house, you discipline them. That is it. If we already have a tumultuous relationship, right? You deal with everything relating to our child and let it be that.
But it can't be the case.
But that's how I would see it.
You're not there.
If I'm not there, I'm not there. But if my child comes back and says, "Mummy, Sandra said that I had to go and sit on the doorstep, blah blah blah. Where was your dad?" Oh, he was there. I would at least if he's there, I'm like, all right, your dad was there. He oversaw it. He's fine. He wasn't there. Why is he not there? I don't understand.
What do you mean?
But if it's with
the person he lives with this people.
I'm telling you how I would react if the situation was not amicable.
But I think a lot of times it's not amicable.
Okay, but in the ideal world, it's amicable.
No,
I would know the partner. Yeah. The partner will let me know. In my ideal world.
I know.
Okay, so in a normal world,
I know. Okay, fine.
Obviously, you're basically saying that you won't really be comfortable
in a normal
with
world.
that child.
No, I don't want it. I don't want it
with their biological parent.
I would rather that it's just the dad is disciplining my child, unless we have a okay enough relationship that you're able to say to me, listen, as I did X, Y, and Z, so I took away his iPad, blah, blah.
No, maybe that's not so bad.
I don't mind if I can speak to you directly.
Not around. Let's say the dad's gone to work.
But wait, if the
stepmom
is a respectable someone that I can speak with.
You can't wait 8 hours to discipline the kids.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah,
you can.
And what tends to happen when
you tell the dad when they get home.
Then maybe the visitation cannot happen in the house then.
Because
do you know what I mean?
That's what most people will do.
Imagine I live in my home. Your kids jumping on the sofas. I can't even tell your kid to sit down.
But that's different. That's different.
No, why is it different?
That's not disciplining. Stop jumping on the sofa.
Yeah, okay. They kept jumping.
Okay.
Now go sit on the stairs. I can't do that. The guy's gone to work for 8-hour shifts.
But you know what? It depends on the level of discipline then, I guess. Because that to me is reasonable. You're telling him to go sit on the stairs.
The person's not a crazy person. That's the whole person.
But then we're talking about flogging.
No, it's not flogging. I said take that out. Take that out. Because nowadays it's
not flogging. Okay.
Not hitting.
So we're just
even sometimes though, even if it's sitting on the stairs, you may notice that every time they go there, they happen to sit on the stairs on every weekend that they go there.
The thing is,
you know, like as an external parent, when you're not there, you may start to feel like, are they picking on you?
But then
is it all the time that this auntie wants you to always sit on the stairs? Do you know what I mean?
I think also it's important to pick up on how this child perceives what's happening as well, because that's how a child could easily be pulling. Oh, mummy, Sandra made me do this. When Sandra maybe didn't.
If they know that you and Sandra don't get along,
exactly. If you're not happy with it, if you're there, the child seeing you calling Sandra or calling the father saying, "Oh, why did this happen?" It's important to be aware of stuff like that.
But this is why I think it's very important to talk about discipline, because and whether or not like what's the word?
But whose job is that? It's the dad's job to inform Sandra of how they discipline. No, okay, listen, me and the mum, we have a thing. If he does this, then we do this. So if they're being disciplined,
not on good terms. There's no me and mum. Me and mum don't have a thing.
Usually when there's
no thing. Do you know what I mean? Like we're both just parenting the best we can, looking for the best of the child.
I think I don't know if it's a usual thing that happens, but what you hear is that because they're not amicable, the child is around this, as I say, the father, for example. When there's a woman involved, the mum's like, hold on, no, actually, he's not going to see you when you're with her because we're not good like that.
That's the time of your child.
So they keep it separate.
So they keep it separate and there has to be some sort of good relationship happening before everything else. Before even you're okay for your child to meet the next person, and then you're talking about discipline. And to be fair, if this person is correct, they would want to know your child and love your child enough to know, okay, the way to discipline. Or do you know what? Me and this child have our way of communicating. We get along, or we have this common ground or common interest in movies or whatever. Like, I feel like that's something that you need to see in this step parent.
Yeah.
Before you're
this is
even
why-
comfortable
Yeah.
with discipline and the rest of it.
And this is why I raised
There's
the point about
levels.
discussing discipline, because
With
even with
who?
two biological parents, the way you might discipline, I may
It's
not like
different.
it. Do you know what I mean? And you might
That's
see that
true.
because you believe in that. So
That's
maybe you believe in
true.
smacking, and I just don't
true.
believe in smacking. Every time you do it, it's gonna get to me.
Yeah.
I may feel like
I
this
have to
child
think about
can
it.
learn without this smacking, for
Right.
example.
That's-
So you always have to like update yourself. Talk about even in a two biological parent
Yeah,
family.
yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
It's true.
Because
It's true.
sometimes there are differences there. So it's not always when it's a step parent or this or that, because you may not always agree, and that child may actually not need that type of discipline, and you may find that parent keeps doing it. So what you might find is that in a mixed blended home, for example, where there's a step parent, that step parent may believe in smacking. They don't hate the kid. They actually got to know the kid.
Yeah.
They play PS4 with the kid. They
But
do
that's
all
just
sorts.
their-
But then that's their way. You still have to let that time. Because I think some people. Some of the examples I know is of women, so not just personalising women, but examples I know personally is of women that they want to give the man a space to get comfortable enough with the child so he can discipline and he can also, take the child out for treats and all the rest of it. So they try and turn a blind eye and firm it because it's like, I'm trying to let them build that relationship and understand that he's allowed to tell you off and this is allowed to happen. But actually, if that child doesn't need that level of telling off, you still need to have that discussion.
Yeah.
Not because they're a step parent, but because you should always review things
But
and
you know
whether or not
what?
the child requires that.
What I find really sad, it's just made me think of when the woman, because she doesn't want to lose or have any friction in her relationship with this guy,
Evidence,
she
yes.
won't open up and tell him no.
Because it will look like it's
It'll
because
be,
you're not the biological parent.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm turning a blind eye because I don't want any issues with you.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
whatever you, and this is how some children get abused
100%.
by their step parent because the mum or the father or whoever.
But it's hard
just
because
not,
you want to give them that. It is hard.
because
it's hard.
you love this person.
Yeah,
I
it's
know.
hard. No, it's hard though.
It's
It's,
hard. It is hard.
do you know what I mean? You wouldn't love an
Discipline is-
abuser, so you
yeah.
probably don't see the abusing side all the time.
this is
Sometimes
it.
you do, but
Yeah,
most
some-
times it's not in front of you.
Yeah.
It's not in front of you.
Yeah.
And sometimes even the abuse is happening to the parent
As well as the
themselves.
child. Exactly. So
That's right.
it can be quite tricky. I think discipline generally can be quite tricky.
It is. I'm
That's how you-
thinking because even as you're saying, like with two biological parents, you have to discuss it the same way
Yeah.
you discuss like just parenting styles as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That discipline one is a big factor. Like I've had many conversations about discipline. I'm OTT. I personally don't feel like I think I've said this before. I don't feel like dads should shout at their daughters, just because I just don't think. Maybe because I don't know. My dad's never shouted at me, and I remember doing things to my dad that was wild, and he's never shouted.
So
and
would he have an alternative discipline or just?
yeah, I'll get in trouble. Don't get me wrong, and it would more so be my mum. I think
Okay.
again it would be like he would report me and be like,
Okay, and let your mum do it.
can you see what your daughter is doing? And then my mum will come in and do whatever. And I just feel like maybe, I don't know, maybe subconsciously me, I just feel like men shouldn't like be overly just aggressive when it comes to their daughters. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just kind of speaking. I don't know. But I've always felt that way. So when like Kiana's dad or Charles would deal with Kiana or Amara, I would be like, and it's not because it's like they're doing
not
anything
personal to
wrong.
them,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just me. It's like, okay, why are you shouting so loud? Like, can you calm me down? What's happening here? Hello, just fine, just leave. I'll be going, okay, be going. And then I just kind of have to, because I just, with the boy, but then I say that, even with the boy, I think he's even been there. I'm just like, can you not be shouting at him like that? Move, man, don't. I just don't, I don't know. But if it's me, I can be doing all the screaming, maybe because I know, like I know my own self-restraint, and I don't know anybody else's restraint. Does that make sense? I'm not making. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Is that like a lack of trust then, or what?
I don't know because I am quite a mother hen when it comes to my kids. I'm very much like, these are my children. Okay, I know they're yours as well, but can you just be taking a step? And I know what I can only vouch for myself. So I know that even in my anger, I'm never going to be so angry that I'm going to black out. But again, I know that the dad is not going to do that, but I cannot vouch wholeheartedly. So I would rather I deal with it, and then everything's okay.
Sometimes I wonder it's because you can't see yourself. So when you're shouting and screaming, you can't see how you look.
Yeah.
When you see someone else, it's like,
maybe.
Do you know what I mean? So
And I probably look just as mad.
You probably look the same. But it's like,
It's true.
and there's even a deeper tone. And
It's true,
you know what I mean? Like,
It's
so maybe
true,
it's because
it's
you can't
true.
see what you
It's
look like when
true.
you're at that height of anger.
Yeah.
Because
but
I think
also, I
every
don't feel
parent-
like I get to
because
that
probably
height of
the other
anger as
parent-
well. I don't.
Yeah, but you shout and scream. It is a height of anger. It may not be the absolute top, but
Yeah.
it's a height
You know,
of
yeah.
some sort. There's this height where you like stop that, tell off. Do you know what I mean? It graduates in stages,
Yeah.
and maybe even the dad is like, easy on, babe. Do you know what I mean?
It's true.
Because they can
It's true.
see you kind of
It's
reacting.
true. It's true.
Because you only really trust and know yourself, isn't it? So in your
Yeah.
head, you're doing what's right. You can't see what that right looks
I
like.
think having anyone discipline your child.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of
level
discipline. It's a
trust.
lot.
What?
For yourself,
Trust.
it's yeah.
But I feel like
Trust.
as mothers, we take this like, oh
Someone
my gosh,
else.
it's my children. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but it's my children. It's my children. Like, okay, you can tell them off, but be easy. Like,
Yeah, I think for me, like when it comes to someone else and not necessarily partners, I'm not really keen on like there's a bit of a limit when it comes to discipline. Like if he does something wrong, if there's a group of them that do something wrong, everyone go and, you know, I don't know, sit on a naughty step or whatever. I can deal with that. But if he does something wrong and if so, I would want you to report him. I think because again, he's not used to you shouting and going a bit intense. So, and if I'm not there, it makes yes. I think, and I just think most aunties, I wouldn't just go crazy on another child.
You can't.
I'm
What
more
is
likely
that?
to tell you go and sit down, just go and sit on the step, just because I need to
There's
know
some
what you did
restraint
wrong. But
there.
I can't deal with you.
Yeah.
You know, based on what you've done on the same level of what you've done,
Yeah.
because you're not my child.
yeah.
Do you know what's interesting is one of the reasons why, so my mum never remarried, she stayed, and one of the reasons why she will say it up to today, she's like, she don't want anyone to come and tell me off or basically abuse me. You know what I mean? And that was her fear. And that's like, now I'm like, why didn't you go and,
Listen,
you know what I mean? But that was
yeah.
her fear that, look, one man is going to come and just rubbish my door or whatever. And that's the reason why and it's, honestly, I think it's there's so much trust that needs to be had.
Yeah.
And once that trust is broken, a woman can stay by herself and say, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's true.
Like,
But
to
it
have
is
someone
trust
else
as
to
well. It's two
discipline your
people
child
coming
is
together,
something
two
else.
different upbringings, different walks of life. So I have to know that obviously you have children together, but you have to trust that this person is going to do things correctly. Them two, they have to trust that you're going to do things correctly. And correctly, I use that term loosely because correct to them may not be correct to you and vice versa.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Subjective,
Yeah. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I don't know. But it's also a learning curve, right? You learn. It's parenting is learning as well. Every day you
is.
learn.
And that's the thing, I think it's very important to be open to change, like not being too stuck in your own ways.
Yeah.
I think if you're in a position where yourself and your partner or, you know, the parent of the child don't agree on some type of disciplining, Google, find out other ways that you might agree on. Like find something else that you both agree on until you can work out, you know, a long term way, because you need to be at peace with the way someone else is disciplining your child in your house. You have to.
Yes.
Like, so do you know what I mean? If the step isn't working, both of you have to find an alternative that you're okay with. No one's going to be honky-dory because discipline is discipline. It's not great.
Yeah.
Sometimes even you're telling off your child and inside you feel for them when they're like, oh, I'm sorry. And you don't want to tell them, you don't want to discipline them because they said sorry, but technically it's the principle. It's that you need to know that you can't get away with this from doing this. You know, those type of things. So, you know, but communication is always important. I think even in early stages before you have children, talk about it.
Yeah.
Like sometimes people talk about everything else, like do you want to buy a house? You don't want to buy a house. Do you like long-term
But you know,
job, 9 to
things like
5?
that,
Don't talk about
it's
parenting all the
difficult
time.
because it's all hypotheticals, right? Because you're making up scenarios
True.
to kind of, so people will be like, oh, so what would you do if blah, blah, I'll slap them, man, you know, but really and truly,
When
they're
they
not
come,
going to do
you're
that,
like-
and then you're
it's
like,
true.
no, but you said you'll slap them then. And so I guess it's easy to talk about it, but I feel like talking on the job is a lot better.
it
You know,
is,
like
it is.
as
And
it's
making
going
sure you're not
along,
talking in
like,
front of the
yeah,
children. I think
they
grit
pick
your
up
teeth,
on
do
it.
what you got to do in the moment, and then have your review separately as parents,
A little debrief.
privately. Yeah, have your
Or
debrief,
step
exactly. Or step parents, whoever it is, have that discussion privately. And I think it's always important to respect the other person's point of view. So if it means like, always try and consider
Find a happy
the other
medium.
person. So there's always ways you can tweak what you do, isn't it? Like, you know.
Definitely. And I think it's just asking the whys. Like, okay, why don't you like that type of discipline? Why do you like that type of discipline? Because that brings out more. It could be how someone was raised. It could be how what they've seen. There's always more to things than what meets the eye. So yeah, kind of getting to the bottom of it is good.
And I think with discipline, it's very important to actually assess whether this form of discipline is actually making a difference. Because sometimes, because you're used to naughty step, you just keep doing it, but it's actually not a punishment. The child is singing, kicking their feet, singing the songs from nursery, whatever. Like, so it's important to actually assess, or if you're smacking your child or whatever you're doing, is it actually producing good fruit? Is it making change? Is the child understanding I shouldn't do this again? Because if they're not, it's a waste of time for you, and it's just inflicting unnecessary pain on them, because it's actually not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't just be based on your understanding of what discipline is. It needs to show like fruits that it's working.
Yeah, just to give you guys a funny example. So Roman, my eldest, he doesn't like the naughty step. Like, he's upset, he's annoyed. Judas too. Naughty step, he's skipping to run to the naughty step because he thinks it's like a big boy job. Do you know what I mean? He thinks he'll run to the step, sit down. I'm sorry, mummy. I'm sorry. Because in his head, he's graduating now. He's sitting on the step, you know. So things.
You see.
So you need to,
So that scenario, that's interesting though, because you probably need to have a different form of discipline.
Facts.
But then it's awkward. Do you know what I mean? It is a bit awkward because one is getting the step and one's getting something else. You will feel bad, but it's important to do it per child. You just have to.
Individual.
Mother bear, Goose, talk to us.
I'm just thinking, I'm still trying to figure out how to discipline Amara. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Guys, listen, we hope you've enjoyed this conversation. We hope you've enjoyed our little review on what we do and don't do and our thoughts. But we want to hear from you. If you're in a blended family, what do you do? Do you have these conversations? At what stage are you supposed to have this conversation? At what point do you trust? Just talk to us, because, you know, we all help one another. You know? It's a sisterhood here. So we'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment, make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
Bye.